Welcome to Coziest Bedtime Story. Tonight, we journey aboard the Midnight Train, a mysterious train that only appears at midnight, carrying its passengers to worlds they've only dreamed of. This is a story of wonder, courage, and destiny, the perfect tale to drift off to under the stars. So snuggle in, close your eyes, and let the Midnight Train take you on its magical ride. The town of Eldenwood was an ordinary place by day. Cobblestone streets, lanterns glowing at dusk, and a quiet rhythm that lulled everyone into their nightly routines. But for those who listened closely, something extraordinary stirred when the clock struck midnight. That was when the faint sound of a whistle drifted through the air. Not the whistle of any train that ran on the tracks by the station, but one softer, almost enchanted. Alara, a curious dreamer who always felt there was something more beyond her little town, had heard the sound many times from her bedroom window. She'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she imagined it. Or perhaps the night itself was hiding secrets. But tonight was different. Tonight, the whistle was louder, clearer, almost calling her name. Drawn by a mix of wonder and daring, Alara slipped on her coat and tiptoed outside. The streets were silent, the moonlight bathing the town in silver glow, and there, at the edge of the station, where no train had stood in years, she saw it. A shimmering train, carriages glowing faintly blue, as if stitched from starlight itself. Its wheels barely touched the rails, hovering with an otherworldly hum. The midnight train had arrived, and for the first time in her life, Alara realized she had the chance to board it. Alara stood frozen on the station platform, her breath misting in the cold night air. The train before her seemed alive. Its lanterns flickered like golden fireflies, and faint whispers drifted from the windows, as though the walls themselves carried stories. Then, with a soft hiss, the door to the nearest carriage swung open. Inside stood a conductor unlike any she had ever seen. His uniform shimmered as though woven from midnight silk, and his cap carried a silver star pinned at the front. His eyes, warm yet otherworldly, twinkled like constellations. "Good evening, Miss Alara," he said, as if he had known her all his life. "The train has been waiting for you." Her heart skipped. Waiting? For me? She glanced around. Surely someone else must see this, hear this. But the town behind her remained silent and still. Only the train and its mysterious conductor seemed awake in the world. "Where does it go?" she asked softly. The conductor's smile deepened. "To places you have only dreamed of. Worlds where stars are not above you, but all around you. Realms that live in the spaces between wishes and sleep." Alara's fingers trembled at her side. She had always dreamed of adventure, of stepping beyond the ordinary, but stepping onto this train meant leaving everything she knew, at least for a little while. The conductor extended his hand. "Every dreamer gets one invitation, Alara. Tonight is yours. Will you board?" The whistle blew again, low and haunting. The midnight train was waiting. Alara took a deep breath and placed her hand in his. As Alara stepped onto the midnight train, the air changed. It wasn't just warmer, it hummed. The carriage seemed alive, glowing faintly with starlight woven into its velvet walls. Each lantern flickered with a flame that looked more like a miniature galaxy than fire. The door closed softly behind her,
and the world outside vanished. The town, the station, even the night sky, all gone. Only the train remained, rolling smoothly into an endless horizon of twilight. Rows of seats lined the carriage, but they weren't ordinary seats. They shimmered, shifting like clouds, reshaping themselves to whoever sat upon them. Passengers, few but wondrous, occupied the carriage. A boy with feathers in his hair, sketching the outline of wings.
An old woman whose knitting needles clicked, each stitch forming strands of light instead of yarn. A child asleep, clutching a glowing balloon that pulsed like a heartbeat. Elara walked slowly, eyes wide, every detail too magical to believe. Yet it all felt strangely familiar, like something she had once dreamed. The conductor followed her in, tipping his hat. "This is the carriage of whispers," he explained. "Every seat holds a dreamer, traveling to the place where their heart longs to go." Elara paused. "And me? Where am I going?" He gave her a knowing look. "The train takes you not where you think you should be, but where you truly belong." As the words sank in, she heard it, a soft murmur, like voices in the wind. She turned and realized the walls themselves were whispering. Thousands of faint voices, all at once. She pressed her ear closer. The whispers were telling stories, her own dreams, her forgotten wishes, even the secrets she had buried deep in her heart. The midnight train knew her. Her seat glowed softly, waiting. Elara hesitated, then sat down. And as she did, the carriage shuddered, lanterns flaring brighter, as if the train itself sighed in relief. The journey had truly begun. The midnight train glided smoothly, no sound of wheels against tracks, only the soft hum of stars outside the windows. Elara leaned forward, staring into the endless twilight beyond the glass. It wasn't the night sky she knew. This was deeper, like a river of constellations stretching forever. Then, with a low chime, the train slowed. The carriage whispered louder, as though the walls themselves knew what was coming. Passengers began to stir, their eyes glowing faintly with anticipation. "First stop," the conductor announced, his voice calm but powerful. "The realm of remembered dreams." The doors slid open without a sound. Beyond them was no platform, no station. Instead, a glowing bridge of starlight stretched into a vast world shimmering in hues of silver and blue. Towers built of moonlight rose in the distance, and rivers of liquid dreams flowed, carrying fragments of people's hopes like drifting lanterns. Elara stepped forward cautiously, her breath caught in her throat. The boy with feathers in his hair rushed past her, his eyes wide. As he crossed the bridge, a pair of great shining wings burst from his back, carrying him into the sky. He laughed, the sound echoing across the dream world. The old woman with the knitting needles followed her in, and the strands of light she had been weaving spun upward, forming into a glowing gate that welcomed her in. One by one, passengers stepped off, each pulled toward their own dream made real. Elara hesitated at the threshold. The bridge of starlight beckoned her, but she didn't yet know what dream was waiting for her on the other side. The conductor, standing tall beside her, spoke gently. "You don't have to leave yet. The train has many stops. Some dreamers find their place here, others must journey further." Elara looked out at the realm of remembered dreams. For the first time in years, she felt her heart ache, not with sadness, but with longing. She stepped back into the carriage. "Not yet," she whispered. The conductor's eyes gleamed with quiet approval. Then sit tight, child. The train has more worlds to show you. The doors closed, and the midnight train moved on, carrying her deeper into the unknown. The midnight train drifted through silence. This time, there were no stars glittering outside the windows, only a heavy fog that pressed close against the glass, hiding everything beyond. Elara shivered. Something about the air inside the carriage felt different now, colder, heavier. Even the passengers sat quieter, their glowing eyes dimmed. The conductor walked slowly down the aisle, his lantern swaying with a pale light. He stopped near Elara's seat. The ground shimmered faintly with broken fragments, glowing shards of wishes that had been abandoned long ago. A young man rose from his seat and stepped out. Elara watched as he bent down to pick up one of the glowing fragments. The moment his fingers touched it, the shard dissolved into smoke, and his face crumpled with sorrow. Still, he walked deeper into the forest, as though searching for something he had lost. One by one, a few passengers left, their eyes heavy, their steps slow. The forest seemed to swallow them whole. Elara gripped her seat tightly, her chest tightening. She could feel something in the veil calling to her too, like a whisper tugging at the back of her mind. Memories of moments she had let slip away, of things she had longed for but never dared to chase, flickered at the edge of her thoughts. She almost stood, but then the conductor's voice steadied her. This place feeds on regret. If you are not ready to face it, stay aboard. The journey is not over. Elara sank back down, her heart pounding. She knew if she stepped out, she might never return. As the last passenger disappeared into the fog, the conductor raised his lantern. "Close the doors," he commanded softly. The train obeyed. The veil of forgotten wishes faded into the mist as the midnight train rolled forward again. Elara exhaled, her hands trembling. For the first time, she realized this journey wasn't only about wonder. There were shadows here too, shadows she would have to face eventually. The midnight train rattled on, breaking free of the fog. Slowly, the darkness outside the windows softened into a golden glow. Elara leaned closer, her breath catching as the view unfolded. Beyond the glass stretched endless fields of flowers, their petals shimmering like they were painted from light itself. The sky was caught in a perpetual sunrise, hues of rose, lavender, and gold layered together as if dawn had been paused forever in that single perfect moment. The train came to a gentle halt, its brakes sighing like a deep breath of relief. The conductor's lantern glowed warmer now, casting soft amber light. "The Garden of Eternal Dawn," he announced, "a place where dreams are born anew." The doors opened, and a breeze drifted in, warm, fragrant, carrying the scent of jasmine and wild honey. Elara stepped off the train, her shoes sinking into soft grass that sparkled with dew like crushed diamonds. Everywhere she looked, passengers wandered in wonder. A woman laughed as golden butterflies landed on her shoulders. Children ran barefoot through the fields, their giggles echoing. In the distance, crystal streams caught the light of the never-ending sunrise, flowing like liquid gold. Elara knelt beside a patch of flowers that seemed to glow brighter when she touched them. A soft voice rose around her, not from any person, but from the garden itself, whispering, "Here, you may plant what you hope for and see it bloom." Her chest ached with a longing she hadn't known she carried. Closing her eyes, she thought of the life she wished for, adventure, belonging, the courage to chase what she dreamed. When she opened her hands, a tiny seed of light rested there, pulsing gently. She pressed it into the soil. Instantly, a flower bloomed, silver petals edged in starlight, bending towards her, like it recognized her soul. Elara gasped, her eyes stinging with tears.
For the first time since boarding the train, she didn't feel like a passenger. She felt like part of the journey itself. As she returned to the carriage, she looked back one last time. The field stretched endlessly, every flower a dream waiting to be realized. The eternal dawn glowed brighter, as if promising her that not all shadows could swallow hope. The train's whistle blew, soft but certain. Passengers climbed back inside, carrying with them blossoms of light, hope renewed in their hands. And with that, the midnight train continued on, leaving the sunrise behind, but carrying its glow within. The midnight train rumbled on, the sound of its wheels softer now, almost like a heartbeat. Outside the window, the golden dawn faded into twilight once more, but this time the night sky was unlike any Alara had ever known. The stars were not distant. They hung vast and close, enormous orbs of light suspended just beyond reach, their glow flooding the train's carriages with shifting colors. Nebulas unfurled like oceans of paint across the heavens, rivers of violet and emerald swirling into infinity. Passengers pressed against the glass, awestruck. Some wept, some whispered, others sat in reverent silence, as if afraid to disturb the cosmos around them. The train slowed, not at a station, but on a track of light itself. Rails of silver stretched across the void, arcing past planets and moons, carrying them deeper into the celestial sea. Ilara's breath caught when the conductor appeared beside her, lantern dimmer now, almost unnecessary against the brilliance of the stars. His eyes reflected galaxies.
"This is the crossing," he said quietly. "The place between all worlds, where choices ripple into destinies." Alara felt her chest tighten. "Why show us this?" she asked. He studied her, his voice low but steady. "Because each passenger must decide where their path leads. The midnight train does not take you forever. It only carries you until you know where you must go." The carriage lights flickered, and suddenly, mirrors of starlight shimmered across the floor. One by one, passengers began to see visions reflected beneath their feet. Homes they had left, people they had loved, lives they might have lived. Alara looked down. The reflection beneath her was not of herself as she was, but as she could be. Strong, fearless, standing on a mountain peak with wind in her hair, her eyes lit with purpose. Her throat tightened. I don't know if I can become her," she whispered. The conductor leaned close, his voice like a calm tide. "You already are. The question is whether you'll choose to step into her." The midnight train trembled as if urging her forward. The stars pulsed brighter, like beating hearts. Passengers around her began making their choices, some vanishing in a shimmer of starlight, departing toward their destined worlds. Alara's hand tightened on the silver-flowered bloom she had taken from the garden of eternal dawn. The glow pulsed in rhythm with her own heartbeat. She knew her moment was approaching, but to choose meant to leave the train, and part of her wondered if she was ready to let go of the mystery that had carried her this far. The whistle blew softly, echoing through the galaxies. The midnight train pressed onward, carrying Alara closer to her decision. The midnight train's whistle cried one final time, long and low, echoing through the stars like a farewell song. The rails of silver light began to narrow ahead, leading toward a single glowing horizon. The passengers who had made their choices were gone, leaving the carriage quiet, hushed, almost holy. Only a few remained, those still searching, still uncertain. Alara's reflection on the floor shone brighter now. The woman she could become gazed up at her with steady eyes, no longer a distant vision, but a mirror calling her forward. The silver-flowered bloom in her hand burned with soft fire, its petals opening fully for the first time. The conductor stood at her side, lantern dim. His voice was gentle, yet final. "This is where your path branches, Alara. Beyond this crossing, the train cannot follow." Her heart hammered,
The thought of stepping off, of leaving the train, the mystery, the safety of its rails, terrified her, but she also knew she could not stay forever. The midnight train had given her more than passage. It had given her a glimpse of who she was meant to be. The doors hissed open. Beyond them was no station, no platform, only a vast landscape of golden light, rolling hills and mountains carved from starlight itself. The air seemed alive with possibility, each breeze carrying whispers of courage and promise. Alara turned back, one last time. The passengers who remained watched her with quiet understanding, as though her choice gave them courage for their own. The conductor tipped his hat, eyes shining with galaxies. "You carry the dawn with you now," he said softly. "Go where it leads." Alara stepped forward. Her foot left the safety of the train and touched the light. Instantly, warmth surged through her, filling her chest, her veins, her very soul. The fear melted away, replaced with strength. She lifted her head high, the silver-flowered bloom glowing in her grasp like a torch. Behind her, the train gave a long, final whistle. When she looked back, it was already fading into the stars, vanishing along its endless journey to find others still searching. Alara smiled, tears stinging her eyes, not of sorrow, but of gratitude. The path ahead stretched into infinity, shimmering with promise, and for the first time she did not hesitate. She walked forward into her destiny. And so the midnight train comes to an end, not with the fading of mystery, but with the birth of courage. Thank you for riding the midnight train tonight. As the stars settle back into the sky and the train fades into the quiet of midnight, may your dreams carry you to magical places of your own. Rest well, sleep peacefully, and remember, the midnight train will always return when your heart is ready for adventure. Good night, dreamer.